Good evening. Welcome to Hotlines 21, 6 p.m. show from the Organization of African American Family Association. I am your host, the Urban Addict. For the African American Family Association, if you have any questions, comments, or just general solutions that you would like to offer us, we could be reached at 312-738-1060. Today's topic is probably a sensitive one. I would like to ask you, viewers, have the faith-based community lost the trust in the people? Do the people still believe in faith-based organizations, religious attributes, and so forth? I've been beating the streets, and I've been fortunate enough to work with over 100 pastors, reverends, ministers, priests, all mixed up in different situations. And just to clear it up, faith is something that is we all must have. It's hope. It's a substance hoped for, and it's definitely gained from. But my question to you today is: have the people lost trust in faith-based organizations? The reason I ask that because a lot of times you see that when politicians begin to run for office, the first thing they do is they run to faith-based organizations because they believe that they have the power of the people in their hand. But most often times people begin to believe in them faith-based organizations, religious groups, and who they say they should vote for, they vote for. A lot of them vote for. If they're not a senior or elderly person, they vote for them. So this is one of the situations where, what are our faith-based organizations really doing for us? What are they doing for our community? This show is definitely a show about solutions. It's about solutions. So if you have any advice, if you have a solution, or if you believe that the people have lost trust in faith-based organizations, if you believe that faith-based organizations still have the trust in the people, it's your opinion, but I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to call in and give me an honest opinion on what do you think. Caller, go ahead. Caller, you there?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Hi.
Uh, Unfortunately, caller, we are receiving some technical difficulties. If you can hang up and call back, I'll take your call again. But other things I would like to say is I've worked with pastors, and what I can say is I have seen them work with the communities. I have seen them give to the community. I have seen them help with social problems. I have seen them help and be there in the time of need through mental problems, through physical and health problems when somebody's going through it. I've seen them be there for families in loss. So pastors are, I'm not saying that there are some bad and some good, but I'm saying I just want to know that if you believe that we have, as a people, lost the trust in faith-based organizations, and if you believe that faith-based organizations still believe that the people will follow them. My personal experiences, I said that we're working with different groups. I'm not going to call no names, but it's some people that do not deserve to have that ministerial license. It's some people out here that are out for a profit. It's some people out there that's out for a gain, that are bleeding our communities, and they are not putting nothing back. They are not for the people. Fortunately, I've been able to work with the Dr. Johnny I.C. Tyler, who is a pastor, and I've seen with my eyes the clear-cut attitude he have when he cuts off people that are not for the faith-based organizations in the light that it is written. I have seen how he stands up and he say, no, that is not my lane. Or he will let them know that he will not be a part of it. That's the good thing that I have seen. And I have seen the other side of that where I have seen people search for the dollar. I have seen people say that that's not my problem. You know, if you take that seat and you take that road, then that's definitely your problem. I don't know what you believe in, but I know what I believe in. I believe that if you take a seat to assert your authority one way, and then once you're in there, you're doing just what all other politicians do. Every politician, they get in and they say the same thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the red lights down. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And once they get in, they tell us, oh, it's stipulations that was already in place. It's time frames that we have to wait on. It's contracts that the city can't break. Well, you knew all that before you got in the office. And it's no different than being with a religious group. Caller, go ahead. And it's no different than being with a religious group. Caller, go ahead. And it's no different than being with a religious group. Caller, go ahead. Hi, go ahead.
There's a bit of a delay, I think.
Yes, it is. Hi, go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a really fresh jacket, by the way. I agree with everything you're saying.
Right. What is your name?
By the way, I agree with everything you're saying.
Right. What is your name?
By the way, I agree with everything. My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, what is it that you agree
Hello?
with though? As far as what I'm saying, is it a particular part or is as far as what I'm saying, is it a particular part or?
I'm saying, where did you get that jacket though?
Thanks for calling in, caller. I got it from the store. And if you would like one, just call in with a solution for the African American Family Association, 312-738-1060, and I'll help you get one. But give me a solution with what we can do to ensure that our people are still believing in faith-based organizations and not being taken advantage of. Next caller, go ahead.
I want to say this is the bottom line. You got to realize what your state rep does, what your state senator, even your alderman. And every 4 years, whatever the case may be, you get the opportunity to hire and fire the people that want to represent you. And you got to quit looking at those people that hold those offices. Some people look at those offices as like an employment office. You understand what I'm saying? And you got to hold those people accountable. And you got to know what's going on. Just like in the state of Illinois, we got more people that know all about all the people in the city council than what your state rep does. What do your state senator do? And then we look and see, I said this once before, we got what you call a businessman running our state, and you cannot run certain organizations or certain things like a business like they do in our public educational system. You can use business principle, but you cannot run certain functions of government like a business. It's not going to work.
What is your name, caller?
Joe.
Joe, I got a question. Joe, do you think that the people have lost trust in faith-based organizations?
What do you expect now when they got these C501 and they put them there for a reason? And I think it started after Hale Washington when all these organizations got together and they backed one person for mayor in the city of Chicago. And when you look what happened, now stop me if I'm wrong, all right?
Right.
Nowhere in the state of Illinois, when you elect a chief executive, where they change the rule with this 50+1.
Right.
So they changed the rules.
Right.
So certain groups cannot, cannot get into power certain ways no more.
Right.
Because every time, we have certain groups try to get certain power, what do they happen? They change the rules. If I'm lying, stop me dead in my track.
Right. Well, I'm going to show you, this is what we see. This is what we see. That's what we see. We see a blackboard. We see a plain blackboard. Nothing else. We never given nothing down written in contract. We never given nothing showing like exactly what we gonna receive. We always just like giving a blank piece of paper, and us as a people, we sign it and we sign on and we go with the flow. And then when we go say, well, wait, hey, you said you was gonna do this, or hey, you say you gonna do that, they slide us the paper with they stipulations on it, or they slide us the format with what they gonna do, and here it is. Our John Hancock is on it, but we didn't agree to none of these terms or none of these policies. You know, we didn't agree to none of this. And so basically what I'm saying is a lot of times is we latch on to these organizations that gets us to march for certain agendas. They gets us to stand and block traffic. They gets us to stand and do things, and we believe in what they saying at that moment. But then, and when we get to the end, we find out what we fighting for is not what the priority goal was. That's not what they were fighting for. What they told us they was fighting for was enough to get us to come in on their beliefs. So I just want to be clear that with faith-based organizations, I think that it is a lot of misleading organizations out here. It is a lot of misleading pastors and ministers and reverends and imams and priests. Everybody is not perfect, and I just think we need like a stern committee before we pass out these licenses and these clergy coats and all this stuff. I think we need like a committee that the same as somebody going to be president. These are people's lives that they trust in you to pray for them. They trust in you when they tell you they deepest family secrets and stuff. They trust in you, you know, when they come there and they take their last dollar and put it in the collection plate and stuff like that. I think no different than the president, that he's scrutinized and he's challenged and he's watched and everything before he become president and make it to that office. Everything that's under the cloth gonna come to the light. And I think everything that's under the cloth, it should come to the light for pastors, ministers, imams, priests, and everything else. I just think all that stuff should come to the light, and it shouldn't be treated no different. I'm a person that's, I'm a believer, so, and I believe that we shouldn't have a segregated search when people are to be over our people. I don't know what you think, but, you know, your grandparents probably set up in church all day. They probably set up in church every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They went to Bible study. They went to Sunday school. They went to prayer service. Then every time they didn't gave an offering, and they did this and they did that. My thing is, you know, like I said it clear. Again, if you would like to call in, don't hesitate. The African American Family Association, 312-738-1060. Have the people lost faith in faith-based organizations? Next caller.
Once again, when I was telling you week before, you need to look at history. It was the people that chose the man. It wasn't the other way around. The man chose the people and the cause. We don't need no committee. You know, that's what we need to do with all right? The people. When you look at even back in history, it was the people who chose Dr. King. But now, like I said, it's vice versa. That's the reason why we got these property pimps right now in our community. And when you look back in history, once again, Dr. King lived a very modest life. If you look at some of these folks right now, these so-called leaders, they living like millionaires.
I agree. I agree to what you're saying, because I've definitely, and not only are they living like millionaires, they have one commercialized. They on TV with it, and their families are just so distorted.
I say one, I won't be done. We got one person, and I don't need to call his name. You know, I do believe a person is entitled to live a decent life. That family owned a beer distributorship, and I don't have to call their name.
Right. Well, we definitely don't want to call no names and stir up the cuckoo's nest. But one thing I can say is that they say history will repeat itself. So, you know, over time, I always say, you know, we don't need to reach back and, you know, get a leader. But some things that I do think need to be repeated, and that's just scrutinizing, you know, deep searching, just everything, looking into something to find out what's important and what's like, you know, like for you, you're not going to just take and sign over everything that you got in the presence of your, like, say for instance, you die, you're not gonna sign over and say, here, I will this to this person, and they not responsible. You know, you want to make a conscious decision. These things that you research, you know this person and you took your life to learn about them. A lot of times we don't have that time to learn about people that's popping up in these communities, building these churches, taking these abandoned buildings, putting a church sign on it and calling it a church, getting their tax breaks and all this stuff. You know, I don't know if the term is proper, but I think that it is too many. It is too many people claiming to be for the house of God and they not. It's too many people that's doing that. And they're not being honest. They're not being forthright. They're not being forthcoming. And they have more dirt, you know, going on in their house than you ever had in your house. You know, I talked to a pastor the other day and we was just talking and, you know, he said, man, he said that I am a pastor. I'm legally a pastor. He said, but I don't have my church yet. He said, but I want my church and I want it because all the churches that I've been in, up into the one that I'm in now, he said, it's been more mess going on inside the church than it is going on outside the church. So I want to bring a church. I want to come out and open my church. And he said, I want my church to be a home church where you feel love, you know. So these are just things that I think is important to be brought forward, you know, and I want to know, have the people lost faith in faith-based organizations? Once again, the African American Family Association, you can call 312-738-1060. I'd definitely like to give a shout out to my producer / phone tech, Jaleesa Olive. You know, she definitely comes in on time, be ready to work, and that's a plus. The Family Forum and African American Family Association have been going strong for over 20 years. And over the 20 years, we have employed probably somewhere in the range of over 500 to 1,000, if not more people. What we do is we reach out, we open the doors, and we are not a organization that's headstrong and to the point where we don't want to hear your thoughts or we don't want to listen to what you're saying. If you have something you like to bring to the table, we want to hear you wholeheartedly and open. We're not going to shut you out. We're not going to cut you off. We want to hear what you have to say. We're definitely big on sharing ideas. I'm not a person that's big on competition as far as I compete. I like to share ideas. You know, we all take chances. We all take risks. But what risk are you taking when you place all your money in a collection plate? What risk are you taking when you take your child? Because you got to believe that your children believe what you say. So when you take them and you place them in front of a representative of the cloth and you looking up to that person, your child looking up to that person too. And so are the friends and the family and everything else. And especially if you're a leader of your household or your family, then everybody is looking up to this person that you're looking up to. So we really got to be careful with who we introduce the people that look up to us to. That's just way important. As far as the committees, and back then, like I say, we can't relate nobody to the Dr. King, because one thing about Dr. King is that I can say is Dr. King had an agenda and he stood for it. But we don't know in the last moments if Dr. King was still standing because he had the people with him. We don't know if Dr. King was ready to walk away. We'll never know. You know, some people actually retire and just shut down. We don't know. We don't know if Dr. King wanted to become violent. You know, no matter what he preached or what he talked about. It's just some things that'll never be answered about Dr. King. I love him. You know, and I love what he did and I love what he stood for. I love Malcolm X, what he did, what he was trying to do, and what he stood for. I love Nat Turner. This is a man that taught himself to read and write. And he went on to, you know, to create the revolt. You know, sometimes you just have to, you know, you have to stand up for what you believe in. You know, and if you believe in the cloth, then these people of the cloth, representative of the cloth that are false, I think that they should be made noticeable so that they don't mislead the community. Our community has been misled constantly, and it never fails. When you get the combination of a person representing the cloth and a person running for office, When you get them together, that is a time bomb ticking. That is a time bomb ticking. When you see them two combinations, run from it. Run from it. If this person that want to run for office comes to you, then you negotiate with him. If the person of the cloth want to run for office, then you negotiate with him. But if you have them two come together, run from them. We have another caller. Caller, go ahead.
You was talking about, you was bringing up, sort of alluding to the fact, why was Dr. King assassinated? I can give you some evidence that may draw you certain conclusions. As long as he was talking about integrating lunch counters and talking about housing, that was all right. But when he was talking about bringing the nation's poor to the capital, and he was talking about a redistribution of the nation's wealth, that was a whole different case altogether. And that scared a lot of people. When you look at the current president we have right now, he was talking about the same thing. When you, from the no income, you can't even get to the middle income, that's the problem. And a lot of people speculated that's the reason why Dr. King was assassinated.
Huh. You hear that? That's why Dr. King was assassinated. That's not even the tip of the iceberg why Dr. King was assassinated. I agree with you on that. Just some things I just didn't feel that it was appropriate in this time of the show to talk about. But I can say that all the way from the president office, they reached out to Dr. King. They fear of change. But one thing, when you start to mess with money, the government's money, the Uncle Sam money, then you knocking on the door for death, or you knocking on the door for jail, or you knocking on the door for them to come just interfere in your life. What people don't know is, with the North and the South and the war, with freeing the slaves and keeping the slaves, that would have made the lopside of society in America change far as economically. See, people think that they fought for us. No, it wasn't no fight for us. It was a fight for the economic structure of America that was going to break not just America, everything that was tied into America and other countries that was tied in. The economic part of that was going to change. See, here's the thing that I want to point out to you. All of the craftsmen, everybody, the masons and the carpenters and everybody, they were black. So here it is. If you free slaves, they have all the talent. So what? And so now, if they doing all the work, then where the white people gonna come in at? Where are they gonna come in at? Because the talent was with the blacks. So this is just an important thing I would like to bring to light, but I don't want to get too far off. I want to stay focused on the one thing that's important: have our people lost faith in faith-based organizations? That is my main thing. Earlier I had the show before this, we talked about drinking and driving, and this actually was a better Memorial Day weekend, to where we didn't have as many deaths and from drinking and driving as normal. So that's a good thing. And once again, the African American Family Association, you can call in at 312-738-1060. We're standing by awaiting your calls. Before I leave, I would like to leave y'all with just a little bit of what I believe. I believe that we have 3 more shows left after this. And I've came on and I've spoken to y'all and I said the same thing. I said that we need to put forth an effort and we need to stop searching for a leader. I think I have spoken to the media, and I believe that has run its course for me. It's time that I move forward now. I graduate to speaking to the people directly and speaking and try to touch their lives. We didn't ask to come to America, but we are here by design. We are a power to be reckoned with, and we can change the blueprint. I tell you that every time, and I'm going to continue to tell you that, so you can understand that we are here by design. We are a power to be reckoned with, and we can change the blueprint. It's an important thing. With the information you got, I hope you go out and do something with it. I hope you reach out and touch somebody that may be being misled. And if you know that they are not being misled, let's promote that clergyman of the cloth that does right by the cloth. It's important that the world knows where we got a good person at. Until next time, y'all take care.